Welcome, Eduardo. Again,
Thank
I've
you.
been looking
Thank
forward
you.
to this.
Me too. Thanks for having me again here.
Well, we had an intent to come together and to dialogue and inquire and respond and do this dance that I so love to do, because I love what happens when two or more come together with heart and intent for benevolent expansion and awareness of how much greater we are than we were told. So I'm here to join that dialogue with you, and I just invite you to proceed in whatever way you're inspired.
Okay. Well, I'd like to start by saying a prayer. I'll say it in my Inikiche language first, and then in Spanish, and then I'll do an English translation. It usually is the first prayer that's said by my teachers whenever we would do any kind of ceremony traveling around the Mayan sacred sites. And it's pertinent to what we're going to be talking about today. So let's start there. Anima kach, anima uwashilu, anima ik, anima yach. In Spanish, it's corazón del cielo, corazón de la tierra, corazón de aire, corazón de agua. And in English, it means heart of the cosmos, heart of earth, heart of air, and heart of water. The heart of all of these important things that are important to us, the cosmos, our earth, water and air, of course, and our own hearts, all come together over this sacred time that we're in right now, the time of the new beginning, a new cycle on planet Earth for human beings and for all things. Recently, you sent me.
So can I just interject for a second? It's so beautiful to me. It always has been, that prayer. And of course, I've heard it many times in all the fire ceremonies and a variety, of other meetings that we've had. And I just wanted you to know that when you said the prayer, my body responded, and the energy just went whoosh into me and just kind of went ready. I just wanted you to know that, 'cause it's a powerful prayer.
It really is. The Maya sometimes start off with Hurakan, which means the heart of heaven. The heart of the creator actually in heaven is what that Hurakan means. And however, I like to use the word anima because that's the actual Ki'iche word for the heart, which you used on your last music CD, I think.
Yes, and songs of anima.
Yes. Well, recently you sent me a link to a message that you had brought through, and really sparked. Speaking of light, it really caused a light within me to blink and have an excitement about it. And I wanted to just remind you of what some of the things are that you talked about in that message, and then see if you can expand on them. The name of the message is "The Light That Guides," and it has a lot of information that's within it. Well, one of the things it talks about that's really important is that right now, you say, there's a light that radiates within every human being. There is a light that shines in the center of our Mother Earth. There's a light that shines in the center of our galaxy, and a light that shines and is burning bright within you, within all of us. And that really stimulates for me an understanding of this Mayan prayer, basically leading us back to the heart of heaven, the heart of earth, and our hearts. So if you could tell me a little bit about how that came to you and how you you feel about expanding on it right now.
Well, the way that it came to me was in that expanded state that I go into, and I bring energy transmissions through, and a lot of times it's come with my translation, my words. It's like I dress the energy with the words in my vocabulary, you know. And it's interesting because when you say that back to me, in real time when it's happening, there's rapid fire images in my third eye. That's part of the translating process. And when you started describing it, I went right back to the images. I'm like, oh yeah, thank you. So I don't have a memory of these things unless it's brought up and it's brought into this present moment. Then I access it through a different kind of memory than most people are accustomed to. I access it in this present moment space. It's not coming from a mental memory. I just want to digress for one moment to say that in my childhood, I had a lot of trouble in school because I couldn't retain anything. Or very, very little. That's the same today. I do not retain things. I started to do poorly in school until I corrected that and figured out other ways to see and know and understand what my teachers wanted from me. And I found ways around that. So we all have this within us, this way of accessing universal data, the field. And the images that were coming through at this particular message about that light within our core, it was showing me the light within our core. Each and every human has this. This is how they were originally designed. A lot of people think that mistakenly think that evolution is going to go into the future with technology, and that we're going to be a blend of technology and human. And that's, that's just the way it goes. This is where we're evolving, some people say. What this inner wisdom has said so often is that we were designed in our natural state to be this light and to access this light with the earth, through the earth. So the core of us, the core of the earth, the core of the galaxy and beyond, but those are good starters to remember how to identify and access. Now, identify is not about, again, it's not about identifying with something that exists of what we were born into, but re-identifying with this core light, this core heart, this one heart. This is the oneness everyone speaks about. It's not just pretty words, it's actual. We are connected through this core light with all that is, with our source and all beings. And we have simply been derailed from that in this reality. And this is what is coming to a head, if you will, at this timing. This is, as we have spoken before, through the lens of the Mayan wisdom. This is the bridge between worlds, the bridge between cycles. We have a wonderful opportunity to remember this core light that we cannot find by thinking. It's located in our consciousness through feeling and knowing. This is one of the things we've been derailed from: feeling, soul, the feminine. So I talk about the mother a lot, simply as that presence that comes alive in me to broadcast to me and through me what humanity needs to recognize or awaken to now, so that one can be on with a natural evolution, not one that is designed for humanity in their fragmented state. Human beings, it's important. They don't have to, of course. It's important to awaken to this. If you want to expand into more of your natural state, and that is a multidimensional being. These are not New Age ideologies. Everything that I speak about, keep in mind that I don't retain anything from other people. Everything I speak about comes from within me, and I translate it. And if it sounds New Age, or it sounds like some philosopher, or it sounds like Jesus, or it sounds like any, teacher or spiritual words, it's simply, resonating with that wisdom. But it is me who sees and translates and connects the dots in this way, and I pass it on to others who can take that open source wisdom and apply it energetically in their life if they choose, and begin to practice and remember and strengthen this, so that we can meet this opportunity with as much presence as possible in this crossroads.
Yeah, I feel that it's a time to be really serious for all of us who are serious about trying to eliminate as much of the visuals and audios that are out there that seem to be designed to distract us from our real work. And our real work is to go within and learn how to practice doing it so that we can do it easily and really start connecting to that higher self that we talked about in the last conversation we had in the video, to relink and sync up to our other selves. And I really get that. And I can't help but notice that right now we're being bombarded by literally millions of messages, commercial messages, as well as messages on our Facebook or on Twitter, which I don't have either of those softwares. I don't use them. And I hear things positive and negative about the social media and how it's being abused and how it's being used. In any case, what it is important to do is, like you just said, is to use this potentiality of this doorway that we're in right now, use that time that we have in this particular moment where we're dealing with a lot of time to ourselves because of the issues with viruses, et cetera, et cetera. We must really focus our attention, as you said, on developing this ability to go within and to connect to the self with the capital S, is the way you usually say that. And with that, we've reached a plateau, actually, that you've mentioned before, with this light, that we're in another dimensional plateau. Do you want to talk about what you see when I talk about that, or is that
a
something
lot
else?
comes in to respond to that. I'll just go with the first thing that came in is this has been dropping in for the past couple of days and showing me that everything is actually completely neutral right now. It's that we're whatever level of fear and trauma and unconscious debris we carry around, that I think we spoke about this last time, that affects our instrument, our body, which is a resonant instrument for these frequencies to naturally inform us from the center of ourself, from our soul. In actuality, most of the population is some form of, a disembodied being, because the soul has been conditioned out. It has been, there's very little of us present in our bodies. And it's important that we realize that we are the ones in charge of this. It is our will, our own initiative, our will to engage with soul and love again, which again, I can back up and say, oh gosh, that sure sounds new agey, right? But language is not my friend. I have to pick words to speak this. But the real energy is coming through on other levels. Let's just say other levels. And because a human, that is mostly in a disembodied state, they do not have these gifts online. They're not online because they're blocked. And when these things are blocked, we can't see and own that. So we project all of this on everyone around us. And it's important for everyone to know that this is known, how to manipulate human consciousness when it's in this state. And this has never been more utilized, actively engaged with influencing and corralling human consciousness. I have to say, though, that never, ever are we disempowered unless we agree that we are disempowered. Disembodied, disempowered. One must bring that love with a capital L, soul, back into our being in order to be online and vibrating on a multidimensional level. I wanted to stress this, and I'm probably going off track from what you asked, but this is what's coming, and what's important to say now. Every human being has the ability in any new present moment, doorway, to pray. And all prayer is honestly speaking out loud. I emphasize out loud, because that's what it was, the way it was given to me. This engages and sends out a message to more of yourselves, these selves that we could be synchronizing with now. And many people are. They are practicing the embodiment of more of their selves. When you embody more of yourself with a capital S, you're not even in the reality with Trump and Biden and Russia and Israel and China and Iran. All of these stories are being, humans are being pummeled with these polarizing stories. And it is designed to keep you thinking that you only have this choice or that choice. And that keeps you small. It keeps you vibrating at a lower level if you think that this is your context. Our job now is to remember our greater context in these times and make choices based on that context and on love. You see, on that embodiment topic, ask yourself, does your favorite leader, your favorite authority that you project your authority onto, do they embody that which you value? Meaning, do you see it acted out in them and through them? That's how we know what resonance is. If we see a powerful individual who's taking charge and being a leader, it's not because we're projecting our own connection to source onto them and saying, I am nobody, you are the one who's so charismatic and in charge, or so calm, or so like my grandpa, so it's all open to projection because we're disowning our own authority. Mm-hmm. And just know that if those individuals were embodying what you value and practice in your own life, you would resonate with them.
I agree.
And it would be love.
Yeah.
There is no room for any hatred or judgment, anger. There's no room for it. Love is the force of the universe. This is what is at the source, as we opened with. The source within us and the source within the earth, the galaxy, all the planets, everywhere, beyond. This light is who we are. This is what we have forgotten. This is what we have disengaged from. If we willingly re-engage with it, we go direct and we practice this, we can bring these gifts back online and we can practice this here, thereby changing this reality in drastic ways benevolently drastic ways, if that's even a phrase that can be used, surprising ways, and fun ways. But it's not about anything going on out there. That's how you're being manipulated. So it's not ignoring what's out there, but it's noticing that that is not the source of who I am. The source of who I am is within me. Go ahead.
Yes. And on our last video, we brought up a little bit of this feelings of understanding how to feel and returning back to your feelings, but also to remind each other to trust our instincts, trust our heart communicating with our higher consciousness, to feel what's really going on around us. And when we look at the anger and bitterness and divisiveness that's out there in our world right now, as we get it shown to us, if we watch any kind of nightly news or morning news daily, that it's very upsetting and very confusing to us if we really are working on developing our higher consciousness. And so the distractions are definitely out there. It's us choosing to no longer allow ourselves to be distracted and no longer allow ourselves to fall into the category of I'm this and you're that, or I'm that and you're this, and separation, but to get back to that point where we're all human beings and we're all having the work really is cut out for us at this time on our planet to really focus and hone in on what really is important. And I think you mentioned in one of your verbal journals recently, or messages, that presently there isn't a leader that's capable of guiding us to our spiritual sovereignty. And when I heard that when you said that, it really resonated with me, because you're right. When I look around at what I'm seeing and our choices of leaders, and I look at leaders in other countries, it's very rare to find one of them or even feel from one of them that they are wanting to guide us back to a sense of sovereignty again as human beings on planet Earth, where we're all working on this together. It's usually some kind of a momentum towards separation. And so thank you for saying what you just said, because it really does help in understanding that, of course, it is always our choice. We can choose to go whichever direction we want. Many of us right now realize that what we're seeing in the world and have seen for the last, let's say, 500 years, maybe in this country, 300, almost 300 years. But prior to that, thousands of years, people got along. People had civilizations that lasted 1,500 years successfully. And now we're seeing the disintegration. We talked about this a little bit last time. The disintegration of many societies on the planet right now are disintegrating because these ideas of war and conflict and divisiveness and we're this and you're that, racism, all of these issues are irrelevant to what we really have to start getting back to, and that is we are one with this planet, and we must support each other in rising to our higher consciousness, to our higher level of being, which is available to us, and it's always been there. I think you mentioned in one of your verbal journals also that there's a support system that has been in place for thousands and thousands of years that's available to us, that's waiting for us, that there are helpers. Do you feel like discussing that right now?
Sure. I just want to respond to something you just said, which a lot of times people ask me, or I see it online, how do we know what's true and what's not. And that's a really important question. And this is where this fear-based shadow dark energy is able to swoop in and manipulate, because we're not embodied. So we're back to that. But it's just to clarify what I was saying before. Embodiment of that light and consciousness of that light and working with that light is how you know what's true and what's not, and what's in resonance with you and what is not. And so if you're finding yourself, feeling like you're in a battle, in a sea or a cacophony of voices arguing about what's right and what's wrong, that will show you that you've agreed to stay under this very low ceiling of your consciousness, simply the polarized 3D view, which is where you can be easily manipulated. It's up to each and every individual to choose to expand and break through that ceiling and reconnect with that light and that source and be that bridge, as we have spoken of many times. But this is how you know beyond a shadow of a doubt what is real and what is not real, what is true and what is not. Or simply, even in a simpler way, what do I prefer? And what do I not prefer? I do not prefer this. This is not a match to my energy. No judgment, right? Just, I don't prefer that. I prefer this, and I'm going to move in this direction and connect with that. Maybe whatever that choice isn't super clear and you can see all the way down the path, but that's okay. Whatever choice you're presented with, feel, and this goes for voting too, feel which person or which scenario do I choose when I'm presented with two or more of these choices? Which one can I feel and see and imagine transforming and changing and moving in the direction of what I prefer? That's what you align with, even if it's not manifesting right now in this moment. So this helps us to move forward too, and begin to expand and connect with this inner core again. So can you remind me again of what your question was? I just wanted to respond or clarify on what you spoke of before.
Well, we were talking about that this is the time for us to stop being so distracted with what's going on, as you said, but also to practice going within. And that is the choice we all have to make. And yet right now it seems more important than ever because of the issues that our planet is having to face with water pollution and air pollution and hungry people, et cetera, et cetera. We are all part of that answer, part of the solution. And that, like I said, the thousands of years of cycles that have happened prior to this civilization showing up, many of those ancient civilizations were able to exist for a long time. 1,500, 2,000 years. I think Göbekli Tepe happened about 13,000 years ago. And as far as they know, it was about a 2,000-year civilization that survived there. In the Mayan world, we see not only just in Central America, but in South America, the ancient people who lived in Teotihuacan and in Peru and those areas around Lake Titicaca, et cetera, they lived successfully for thousands of years without experiencing issues. But something did happen, and many of those civilizations had already collapsed before the Europeans arrived. So something was happening that was causing the disintegration. And as I study it, it looks more and more to me that it was really war. The warring that started to occur between villages and then to tribes, and then from tribes on to nations, and continues even to today, of course, as we know. And that seems to be the real, it's at the crux of what is happening to pretty much all of the civilizations have collapsed. And we can see the possibility of it happening right here in the US, just by watching the effect that COVID-19 has had on the economy, on people's lives, in addition to watching the number of fires that we're seeing in California and Colorado, right here where I live, and also the weather patterns, how they keep happening and seem to be stronger and stronger too, in the form of destruction. So we're seeing all of the things occurring that on our planet that have always occurred, and yet here we are having to find a new, not new, find maybe an old way of returning to that works, that we can all work together on to satisfy those issues that we have to face together, and to heal them, to get them resolved and solve them. And that is something that you mentioned in these last couple of verbal journals that you've done. The following of the inner guidance is extremely important, and synchronizing with the greater self that we have within us is really what I feel is important. And people have asked me since our last video, how do we do that? How do we start synchronizing with our inner self, our other selves, and how can we use, what kind of tools can we use? And breathing was one, and we talked about how using the dreaming and writing down your dreams, and in other words, interacting directly with your dream world, so that you're paying attention to what your dreams are showing you, and then either writing them down or verbally recording them when you wake up, so that we can have an interaction with our internal self. And I think that was something that people who have talked to me about the last conversation you and I have had about this, that was something they really wanted to know more about. How can we start applying these tools that are God created, the Creator gave to us, that we're born with, and not only remembering them, but how do we apply them?
The short answer is pray unceasingly. And what that means is engage, engage, engage directly. Quit telling yourself that this is hard and this isn't, I'm going to go search for something else, the 10 steps to enlightenment, or, whatever, or a meme, continual sharing of memes and reducing things to symbols, continuing to reduce things to things that stand for your value, like money, currency. Instead of connecting directly with the currency and the value that you are, you think that your value is in paper currency and fast moving to digital currency. This is how you lose the opportunities to expand and take charge and empower yourself and trust. Have faith that love is real. Pray to feel it. Pray to have your body activate with it. You see, people are conditioned to believe that this is all very difficult and we have to work really hard to connect to our own spirit, to Father Spirit, Mother Spirit. No, it's so simple that it's invisible to our thinking mind. Because that's where everybody, most of the population is hanging out, in the thinking mind. They have already let go of soul and their feminine self so much that they can't they can't even see it. It's invisible. The feminine, the true power of the feminine is mostly invisible in this reality. It's not something that you're going to see so much in social media and, you know, even in, you know, blogs and other material. It's just not visible because one does not know, one is not connected to it themselves, within themselves. So they can't see it. They can't, there's no resonance there. There's no visibility. This is what must be reactivated within. So, you know, everybody's looking, you have to understand that everybody's looking for those 10 steps. They're looking for a linear way in to this actual experience. And you're not going to find it. You can only go so many steps, and then there's a drop off. You're still going to, you can keep repeating these practices. Well, I'm going to try this spiritual practice now, and this one, and this one, and this one. And that is a defense. That is a distraction against actually doing this. All it requires is, I'm here. Father, Mother, God, I have no idea what I'm doing. I feel lost. I feel confused. And yet, I know that love is real. And I choose now to remember this love that I am connected to in my body, in my being. I welcome it. And I understand that I may become afraid and run from it from time to time, but I promise that I will continue to show up in every new moment that I remember, and I will be here again saying, I'm here. I choose love. Help me to remember who I am. That's just an example of the kind of prayer that I got in the pattern of saying, because I had some exposure. I had some exposure because of all the experiences I've had. And it was just to bring me online so that I could be talking about this at this timing, to hopefully help others, to model this for them, not be a spiritual teacher that is like, oh, you poor people, you know, you just, it's just maybe not in the cards. It's not your karma. It's like, you know, just all this. I had to stop myself from saying that. It's just more distraction. It's just more stories. And that's mental stories, fodder that is just poured into this already confusing machine that we live within, that has told us, you know, at every point, and so often, so many times, that we are nothing, we are nobody, You have to get out there. You have to go to university and get degrees, and then you go into the system and you work real hard, and you buy stuff that's cool, and you have friends that are in high places, and just I could go on and on and on. That's consensus reality. That's what we are taught is reality.
Yes.
That is not reality. It's a very, 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 very limited version of reality that only fragmented consciousness can fit into and try to make sense of. And then we have all this spiritual material, so that when we often come to these places of, this doesn't make sense. Why would a God do this? And all these, who am I? Why am I even here? I don't fit here. Or all these mysteries, right? There's only mysteries because you're not all here. You would be fully informed if you invited more of yourself in. And I've already again lost track of what I was responding to.
Well, I think the point is that we're using a very small amount of our true intelligence and our true
Yes.
abilities.
And the pathway there is to take that initiative yourself. Sit
Yes.
down, pray unceasingly whenever you feel it. Dialogue with it, talk out loud, keep the conversation going. That's how you show up, as it has said in the past. This is how you show up on the radar. It's like, oh, here's someone who's being actual. There you actually show up. So while what I found in my life is I start to disappear in this reality, I'm not as visible to people, but I'm definitely more visible to more dimensions, right? So sure. I have a lot of these conversations that happen within us. This is all very natural. This isn't, I'm a medium, and these are just, nothing wrong with mediumship, but we have a greater view of what these gifts are when you start to expand and see more, right?
Yeah.
And channeling, mediumship, this is how it has manifested in this 3D spectrum. This is like, it's like, oh, I'm getting something and it's coming through from, and then the being takes over and I speak as this being from another planet, and not saying that's not true and real on some level. I'm just saying that that's what it looks like from this perspective. In actuality, we light up that core, we open up our body in resonance, we're connected to everything. There would be no need to get our answers from some special being beyond. We are that being, the one being that has access to all this light. We have been conditioned to move away from who we are. And the access point is every new present moment. I am here.
I'm here, yeah.
Speak the truth. I don't know what I'm doing. I am so confused right now. Speak it passionately. Speak the truth. They've said over and over and over. When we speak the truth, when we choose to speak, and honestly, we break the spell. We can't be manipulated when we are being honest with who we are. That's the beginning. And it can go exponential in big ways and very quickly. And I would say that more often than not now, that this is going to start happening. That when we, invite others into this circle, which we're talking about how to do this ongoing conversation, because it's very important that what we create now isn't connected to the past. It has to be something not so rooted in what was, but just to kind of float in between until we solidify more of our consciousness into this multidimensional realm. But when we start to reinforce each other in this way, and we speak of these things out loud, and we're honest not only with ourselves, but with each other, that has a tendency to, if somebody comes in just saying, I want to know more, I'm ready, they could get an experience that's like, because our energy is growing. If I bring through this transmission in energy and some words maybe, but mostly energy, and you have an intent to, I'm on board, I'm online, whatever it takes, I'm here, and I choose love, and I'm choosing to expand with this love and be guided by this love from within my core. I choose to come back online fully with who I am now. Then that clear intent met with a broadcast, it could be just huge. Or if someone just feels uncomfortable and just wants to take baby steps, well, I don't know if that's possible anymore. That was possible before, but but it's all about prayer. It's all about, what is your intent? Ask for what you want. Ask to be guided forward. You are the one in charge. It's not about spiritual teachers and people who have special gifts, and we're supposed to look to them as the authority. This is all about you now. This is all about making that choice within yourself, and cut the BS about I'm nobody, and why would God light up within me. Well, that's just your own trauma and shame and devaluing of yourself that could be easily healed if you engage with it.
Yeah, of course. It can be easily healed once people are supported in that healing process and see others modeling it and actually being it.
Yes.
And that's the issue that a lot of people have brought up as they, interestingly enough, I just had a question a couple days ago about how do we remember that we're universal citizens. And I said, it's all a matter of choice. You're a citizen of many super universes. You're part of all of it. There is no separation between you and that. It's just a matter of resonating and being in love with yourself first, and then sharing that love with everyone else who comes into your world. And if they choose not to choose love, then that's their choice. But it's almost as if we have to be really careful, more now than ever, not to go along with the distraction of the things that are out there that keep us from really going within, but to focus our attention again back in to who we are and what's going on within us, and then being that model, being the true human beings that we are, and start walking with our heads held high and our chest out, and stand up and be tall. I think is one of the things that you and I talked about recently, was learning to stand tall and be strong and walk quietly. You brought up the quiet warrior concept recently, and we talked about that a little bit last time. I love the idea of walking like a jaguar on the earth, quietly and listening and trusting in what the earth is saying to you, and trusting what's in your heart, rather than listening to the holler monkeys off in the distance, yelling and screaming at one another and playing their games or whatever, and being distracted by that. We must focus on what's right in front of us, what's in the present moment. The Maya say that we're in the time of the new sun, and this new sun is changing our DNA. It's actually changing our vibration. And if we're open to it and feel it and resonate with the sun and the earth, as you said earlier, as we started talking about the light that's within us, the light that's within the earth, the light that's within the cosmos, allowing that light to be bright and shine is the goal as human beings today. And our sun is the example. And it shows us almost daily, we see it maybe sometimes for just a few minutes where you live in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
But here in Colorado, we see it very often. I can just say that it's learning to think of yourself or think of ourselves as like that sun, a ball of light that we are, that we actually have the ability to go anywhere we want to, that this body, this physical body, is not us, that we are so much more. Not that we don't like our bodies, many of us do. In fact, we have these bodies, and we love our bodies. We can stay in form and stay here on planet Earth and work through this all together.
Well, our bodies were designed to work with the spirit. So
yeah.
it's no, we're not our bodies, but at the same time, I always have to just emphasize that, hey, we're human beings right now. Can't deny that. Your bodies are so important in activating. First and foremost, in feeling. Your bodies are what keep you feeling, right? So if you can't feel your heart, you can, feel pain or discomfort in the body that's saying something's wrong, something's out of balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for many people, that is the only language that they will listen to, instead of, most people are just in the head and having a mental experience of life. The dropping into the body and having this somatic experience of feeling, even if that's pain, is that's spirit coming through, trying to get our attention. There's more to you. You're out of balance here. Pay attention, right? So it's just so incredibly important right now that people get that it is all about feeling. So what, as you were talking, sometimes I pop in and I'm shown the perspective of the way most people are conditioned to hear and have an experience of when someone is speaking of something spiritual. It's so important for us to recognize the difference between a mental experience of, and what you'll hear from people a lot of the times when they get to that cliff where it just drops off until the choice is to embody it. There's that mental experience drop off, the chasm between the mind and the heart, where so many of us are afraid. We're afraid of that chasm. And so the greatest fear, and I think it was Marianne Williamson that said this, and, our greatest fear is the fear of that light. Our greatest fear is our power. And so we defend because we are afraid that we will be annihilated by the light. That is at the core of every one of us. Unless you have the shamanic experience of death and rebirth, and you die while you're in form, you don't really know this. You don't really know the difference between a mental experience of life and a full death of what we thought was life and real and who we are, our identities, and then being reborn back into a different way of being, a more expanded way of being, new eyes, new ears. And then there may be more deaths and rebirths, but understand, and speaking to, those who ask me these questions often, watch the difference between the mental relationship with life and the full heart and body relationship to life. So aligned with that heart of heaven, aligned with the heart of earth, lit up within your core. You are here and you are online. You intended to be born here fully, not ascend and leave and say bye-bye. Sorry to all you poor people who, you know, who are stuck here. It's this, the opportunity was to remember who we are, right? Mm-hmm. And to wake up to that and to act upon it and be this creative force that we were born to be. It's all up to us.
There's no question that human beings are amazing. And my dog is amazing. He's walking around. He's making an amazing breathing sound. He's doing his breathing right now.
Yes.
It's no question that we are these amazing beings living in these amazing bodies. And being a human being is a great honor. To be walking on planet Earth at this time, to me, is a great gift. In fact, I thought about that the other day, and I just started weeping and out with the horses, giving them some hay. And I realized there was something really wonderful about the way they smelled and the way that the air was and the wind was blowing. It was just an amazing moment. And here we are on this wonderful planet. And we have an opportunity right now to really be all that we are, to call up all that we are, and to accept our rightful gifts, our inborn gifts that have been given to us as human beings, and to start using those and not spend so much time being distracted by what seems to be important on the news, when what's really important is us remembering that we are connected to all, and that love is all. And that's what I've decided is really the most important thing I can be doing right now in my life, is understanding that love is all.
That's right. Yeah. And if we want to change our world, we must change ourselves. We must be open to transforming our own consciousness. Otherwise, we end up agreeing to participate in something that is only a small fragment of our potential. And we believe that we're less than. So we walk into that world where everyone will continue to reinforce that you are less than. So I know that I have had people write to me saying, why does it have to be, it's scaring me what you're saying. And I'm sorry, I don't, that's not my intent, to scare, or, mention that there's a window, that doorway, that portal. It's open now, but it isn't time-based. It's energy-based. Are you going to engage with this help and this support to expand quickly now and wake up? Or are you going to continue to find other ways to distract yourself and agree that the outer world and all of its characters and stories is what reality is? Mm-hmm. That I'm not saying it's not real. It is real, but it's only a very small spectrum of what is possible. So it's up to us. We are the ones in 100% total charge of our lives and our choices. What do you prefer? And that's empowering, right? That's not disempowering. So it's not about, why do you say scary things? I'm saying things that empower you to move in the direction of accepting your own power and authority. Yes. And I can see, I can see the trajectories, the ones that go to more contraction. And I've written about it. on the blog. I don't write about that so much anymore because we're already here now. You either commit and open to and trust in love, or you continue to pretend that you're being reasonable, moving in the direction of contraction and fear. It's all about, are you having a mental experience of reality, or are you willing to fully be here and be that love and be that force in the world, thereby changing the world?
The broadcasting of our resonance, that we choose love, we start living it, we start being it, and then broadcast that out, is what is going to change. That'll be the frequency that will begin to shift and change. The ones around us that want to also be like that will also choose that. There may be some that are close to us that may choose to not do what we are doing, to not accept that as a possibility for their lives. That's okay, right? It's everybody's choice.
Mm-hmm.
And what we have to do is support them in making the choice that's right for them. And in the meantime, really focus again on what we can be doing to make this the most wonderful, pleasant place to be, and make choices based on love. And also to there's something that keeps popping up in questions that people ask me. Well, I thought all the Maya just disappeared. Where did they go? You know, when the Mayan civilization ended, before the Spanish arrived, many of them just left. Where did they go? That's a really interesting question. And it's possible that once human beings understand how they can change their vibration, they actually start to resonate with another level, let's say. And if this is where we are today, there might be another level of resonance that we can go to, where we don't really feel what's really happening. And people might say, you just disappeared. And the answer isn't that we did disappear. It's just that we're making another choice and we're resonating in a different way. Not higher or lower. I don't want to talk about higher and lower frequencies. I'm just saying at a different frequency. And that's what the Maya say about the sun is actually activating our DNA now, so that we can start resonating in a different way, where we are choosing love again and remembering who we are. And if that makes us disappear from the realm that others choose, then so be it. Mm-hmm. The point is that we must do what's right for each, and each of us is different. So do what's right for us, do what's right for you, and we support you in that.
Right. And the message is several times over the years has come through with that
yeah.
That when we accept the invitation, you know, that it's like Source Creator is reaching through now because of this opening, this window, and saying, you know, like my song All of Creation, and how that you know, downloaded into me. It's like the Creator saying, I want to know you. I want us to be together again. You know, I want us to I'd love to see this all work the way that it was designed. With so often the messages have said that human beings just clearly have no idea how powerful they are if they were to come online. And yes, this is precisely why there is such chaos and craziness now to capture your attention and make you afraid, and so that you choose this or that and argue with each other about it, to keep you stuck in this spectrum of reality. Because if you were to wake up, see, that's the thing, is if we were to all come online, there would be no one for them to play with, right? There's no one to evolve in the ways of darkness. or lack of light. So putting judgment aside, it's just simply a force that likes to see what happens when, in particular, human beings are evolved away from the light that they are. And how do they behave? And how can this be harvested? And how can this be used? And, for the dark intent.
I agree. Yeah.
And that's all it is. And if we are unconscious and we have forgotten and we have continued to agree with a dark force that we are told is the light, and because we can't feel, we can't discern, oh, this is not the light. This feels awful. This feels contracting. I know, because I'm getting these new markers growing within my own engagement and my own inner consciousness, I know that love feels like this. It's joy. It's laughter. It's intelligent, wise, beautiful, strong.
It's creative. Yes.
Yeah. And
it's magical.
And it's because we've been having a mental experience with these ideas of what I just listed, then it's like, oh, that's just all that new age crap, right? No, when it sinks into the body, you go, oh my God, and this is what the Kundalini and Koyopa experience is. This is the body coming online with more of this currency, this juice that starts to inform you. This is who you are. Come on, let's go. Let's be, let's celebrate, let's create, right? It's the goddess coming back online with our consciousness.
Yes. And the good news is that this is happening right now for a lot of people. A lot of human beings are waking up to their power and feeling differently about letting go of the old ways and choosing a whole new idea of where we go and allowing their creativity to come forth. And so because of the issues that are happening on our planet right now, many, many, many of us are beginning to remember who we are and looking to others like ourselves to guide them, to help guide them back to their real reality, their true reality of love.
Inspire.
And being love beings. Exactly. Yeah.
We can have guides, but when we're beginning to resonate again, and we're utilizing that natural state of knowing what we need to know when we need to know it, we inspire each other.
Yeah.
Like so often, I will hear someone speak, or it doesn't matter whether it's online or on a walk or whatever, and it's like there's something there that inspired me, and I take that in, and I'm grateful for that spirit vitamin, right? That just helps me to go, okay, this is wonderful. There's reflection, there's identification, there's love present here that I can celebrate, that that we are. I have to say that we are expanding at a rapid rate. And those who choose not to expand, who resist, dig their heels in, are not interested in light, they will not choose it. And they can do that.
Right.
But it's important to know that we just let them go and make their choice. Even if they're a family member or someone close to us, we must allow them to make that choice.
Sure.
It's up to us to choose to open to this light and remember more and more and more and more, and expand and transform ourselves and our reality. So this is happening, and it's an incredible opportunity. getting back to what you were saying about, the disappearing Maya and other civilizations, um, this is probably what it looks like at this stage too. 13,000 years later, when these portals open and there is that reaching in from our divine, saying, you have something inside of you that is the I am. And I want you to feel this so that you remember and have these markers within you, so that when you start to feel distracted and lost, you can go, oh yeah, this is what I am feels like. You bring it back into the body, and then you always have that beacon within yourself moving forward.
Well said.
Thank you. Are we coming to a close?
I think so. These are the issues and questions that I had that I wanted to discuss with you today. And it's so nice to talk with you about these things, because it's reinforcing some of the ideas I have, as well as in creating new concepts and ideas in my mind about how we can proceed as human beings on planet Earth. And you said something the other day, and you spelled out the inner actions instead of interactions, and you spelled it INNER, actions. So this is really where the next step is for a lot of us, is to begin using and practicing these inner actions to go within and connect to our source, original source creator, right within us, instead of looking for it outside of us, instead of looking for it out in the world somewhere or up in heaven. It's heaven is right here within us. And that's the point that we have to get back to, is understanding that.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a fly that just loves coming over and they love when people are on video. And
yeah, they do. They do.
Anyway, I apologize for that.
That's okay.
I don't want to hurt him. Just want him to go away.
He would only just listen.
Yeah. So, in closing, I would just like to add that it's such an honor to be here in this, to live this life here at this time, to be here on planet Earth. It's such an honor. And I accept this opportunity to walk and be all that I am, and walk it with people like you, and try to do my best is the better way of saying it. Do my very best to be an example, and to live it, and to be it, demonstrate it.
Thank you.
And I know that you are too.
For revealing that to yourself and to those around you, because that's really how it works. And then I'm so grateful for our dialogue always, because what happens when where two or more come together in this way, online and conscious, or actively moving in that direction, the beauty and the grace that can emerge from that dialogue, the understandings, the new understandings that can occur or be visible, are very exciting to me. Yeah. And so I feel that, and I'm waiting and watching for the guidance, the inner guidance on how to proceed with what to create and build. And I'd like to just keep doing this, and then perhaps at some point invite others in who would like to join the dialogue on some level, and whatever that inspiration might be, and then watch what emerges from that. Right. Okay. I'm just going to keep it simply framed like that. Whoever that person might be, now or in the future, I'm going to trust the unfolding of that, and then perhaps invite others to join in, and then make inquiry at the end. People call that Q&A, but I like the
Yeah.
word inquiry because it's a way of really going within to ask and receive the answer. So it's a deeper, to me, it's a deeper word for instead of question and answer.
Yes. There's one other thing I would like to mention, and that is that the more research I'm doing on breathing and the benefits of breathing, the Maya use the word ik, their glyph ik, to represent the mystical spiritual breath. It's the wind. And I've learned more about how other ancient tribes were using breathing for beneficial reasons. They wouldn't be doing it just for and it's because there's something really powerful that happens there. In addition, we're learning from doctors who are saying that it creates nitric oxide in our bodies, which is a natural it helps rebuild our immune system is probably the best way to say it. And also, I got an email from a mutual friend of ours talking about one of the doctors that's famous there in New Mexico that recommends breathing in or inhaling peppermint oil daily, or especially when you're around someone who may be ill, and to use peppermint oil on a daily basis. And so one of the things we may want to do is leave a little tag down on the bottom of this video of what peppermint oil, the benefit of peppermint oil is, and maybe how they can order it online or whatever. Just because it seems like they're finding out that just breathing and inhaling this peppermint oil on a daily basis really helps our immune system. Mm-hmm. And to start encouraging all of us to do whatever we can to enhance our immune system,
yes, of course,
as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're amazing beings. We've just got to start using our powers. Our energy is probably a better way of saying it. Yeah.
Right. To bring more energy on board to be used. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That feels good. That feels right. I can smell it when you talk about it, and that feels good.
Thank you for meeting with me here today. Thanks for answering some of my questions and others' questions that have been posed to me.
Yes, you're welcome, and I love participating. And this is my passion. Like I said, the dialogue is my passion, and I'm so grateful when I can start to share more. Like I've had so much downloaded within me over the years, so much, and I get the reason I think this format has expanded now is because I have found such relief in you articulating things and bringing things back to focus when we talk, because I get so much coming into me at once that it's really hard to separate it out. And if I tug on one thing, that could go, that could go exponential in just one direction. And you've probably noted that when we dialogue like this, I do that. I go way off, and it's like, wait, where was I? What did you ask me? Because
we both do that.
It's just like, it's pure, this infinite data. It's like a field. And if somebody has a question and articulates it and asks me or asks you or asks both of us, I can go in and find the resonant response to that, but only temporarily, until that individual has accessed it themselves. See, that's what I want to emphasize at this time. I am only responding and acting and showing up in this way to help model or demonstrate what we have access to, and how this how it worked in my life, how I came online. Stories are interesting for a moment, but it always just delivers us right back to the present moment. And okay.
It does.
are we
It's interesting you
accessing?
say, it's interesting that you say that, because someone asked me, why do you use a Jaguar? Why do you call your program this little videos we do? Why do you bring in the Jaguar? And the answer to that question is that when the Maya needed help in living lives that were higher level lives, there were four beings that came from the Pleiades that they refer to as Balams, the four Balams. And in Maya language, Balam means jaguar. And so it's the highest level that we can come up with. So to answer our question for others who have asked, it's the highest level of being, is the highest level of intelligence, is the Balam energy. And we have it within us. Mother Earth is the mother jaguar to us. And so that is, again, there's always a reason why we do everything, and we love the idea of bringing in the sound of the jaguar and the energy of the jaguar. The Balam energy is within us now. It's the time for us to walk on the planet and be all that we are. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So I think it's time for us to say goodbye on this program, and we'll come back soon with another plan, another talk, and we'll let you know as soon as we can, as soon as we get it together, right?
Yeah. And I look forward to that one as well. Were you going to say a closing for us?
There is a closing prayer that is always given at the end of a fire ceremony or a Pokomam ceremony, water ceremony. It's Maltiosh Chelaka Ahau Mashimon Inawales. Maltiosh, Maltiosh. And that word Maltiosh in Ki'iche means thanks, thank you. So it's a giving a thanks for all that we are, to the Creator and to the great teachers.
Yes.
That we've had in our lives.
I love that. Multiyosh to you.